Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for downloading episode 133 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. We are coming to New York City and we want to see you there. This is going to be NYCC weekend. That's also Columbus Day weekend. And the show is Sunday, October 8th at 6 p.m. That's at the Hudson Mercantile right next to Javits Center. So come on down if you're attending the show, or even if you're not. You do not need a Comic-Con badge to come to see our show, but you do need tickets if you want to see us settling a very important topic with our special guest, Jonathan Colton, making his return to We Got This. Get your tickets at bit.ly/WeGotNY or go to my website, hallublin.com. You'll see a link at the top. You can get tickets there. Also, the next day, we are doing a Muppet doubleheader in conjunction with the Jim Henson Legacy at the Museum of the Moving Image in Queens. And here's how it's going to work. First, you're going to help us determine the top 5 episodes of The Muppet Show of all time. And then we are going to do a live recording for an audience at Museum of the Moving Image that is going to determine the winner among those 5. We are going to pick the best episode of The Muppet Show of all time. And our guests will be Craig Shemin, who is the president of the Jim Henson Legacy and knows just about anything and everything there is to know about all things Muppets, and making his return to the show and extending his record for most appearances is Mr. John Hodgman. And the most exciting part is when we determine the winner, that episode will be screened for the audience. We're so excited about that. Then next show will be Best Classic Muppet Movie. We're talking about the Muppet Movie. We're talking about The Great Muppet Caper. We're talking about The Muppets Take Manhattan. We are going to pick between those movies and choose the best of all time. And we'll be joined by Stephanie DeBrusso from Sesame Street and Avenue Q. We're talking about a Tony-nominated actor and just a brilliant Muppeteer who's going to be joining us to really get into the nitty-gritty and select a winner once and for all. And again, that winner will be screened for the live audience. Where do you get your tickets? I'll tell you. You go to movingimage.us, and that is the ticket link. That's where you go to get what you need to come see us on Monday. That's 2 different shows. But for now, please enjoy episode 132 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all. Best Superpower Redo.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Since the dawn of humanity, unsettled with the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle once and for all the overturning of Best Superpower. That's right, don't worry, everybody. We've got this. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it.
You know what?
You're right. We got this.
Thank you. Thank you. What is up, DragonCon?
Hello. All that energy on a Monday morning.
Monday morning.
My goodness.
We are here at DragonCon for a very special episode of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Tell the folks why, Hal.
Well, we messed up. And I'm adult enough to admit it. Because normally we're right about everything. That's the basic founding principle of the show. However, as a part of Max Fun Drive 2017, we said that if the network reached its goal, which was 10,000 new and upgrading members, that we would allow our audience to vote on an episode from the previous 12 months to overturn, where they felt like we got it wrong. So we put a poll out, and they felt like Best Superpower was the one that we got wrong. We muffed the punt. And so we're here now to get it right. And Haley Thompson was the one who suggested this originally, so she remains the suggester even though thousands of people agreed with her that this needed to be tackled more. And we brought a guest with us You may know him as Baymax or Pete Hornberger or from Moral Orel or Mr. Show or Second City. He's one of the funniest people that I know. Don't
make that face, Scott.
It's always good to introduce somebody in comedy by saying, this guy's hilarious.
They're hilarious.
He's so funny. It's Mr. Scott Adsit.
Hello. I'm an actor. I make no guarantees to make you laugh at all today.
Fantastic.
But you are also a huge comic book fan. You're, in fact, you're a character in the Marvel Comics universe.
Yeah, I'm in Deadpool as a character who's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Actually was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Now is a member of the Nova Corps in space. And he looks like me, and his name is Agent Scott Adsit.
Just so there is no mistake.
Yeah.
This guy kind of resembles me and has exactly my name.
So have you been a comic book fan and reader your whole life?
Yeah, my first comic book was a Big Treasury edition, number 2, of Marvel Fantastic Four. And my second book was Secret Origins. Was it called that? Oh, no, Origins of Marvel Comics. It was called, which was just the first issue of each of the first 5 Marvel comics.
Right.
Oh,
so
that's
it was a
great.
good way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like when I was maybe 9. So I've been a fan since then.
And when you were a kid, when you were 9, 10, 11, and you imagined you had superpowers, did you think about that a lot, about like what superpowers
Yeah, I
you would
mostly
want to
thought
have?
Spider-Man, because I thought it'd be cool to walk where I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
And try to imagine that point of view and all that, yeah.
And it's such a great origin comic because it sells you out all the things. Like, oh, he jumps to avoid a bus and winds up on like a lamppost.
Yeah, he surprises himself with each new power. That's what's great.
Yeah.
And then he invents something that that would make him a billionaire if he would just sell it. In his
Parker
bedroom.
rope.
Yeah.
And at any time during as a child, did you think the best superpower to have would be the ability to speak any language?
Is that what won the first
All
time?
right, hold on. Everyone has just been giving us grief about giving me grief about this specifically. I don't know if you're getting it, Hal.
I'm the one who's online. Of course I'm the one who's getting it.
Yeah, that was the superpower that we chose as the...
Are you serious?
Hold on!
That superpower exists. There are people who do speak many, many languages. You know that, right? Also, there's something called Google Translate.
No, it was originally the ability
Everyone
to communicate.
who has a computer and access to the internet has that superpower.
Look, I realize we got it wrong, everybody. No, but this is the question I want to set up for today to begin with.
Wait, what were the criteria?
This is what I would like to know, because I think that superpower is still valid. That's the ability to speak, to communicate with anything, including computer code and all of this.
That's different.
No,
You did not,
we said every language. HTML or whatever it's called.
I think there was an X-Man whose
Cypher.
name was Cypher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was not an A-lister.
Are we doing this in a world where superpowers exist, or are you the only person with superpowers? That is, I think that's an important question.
Yeah.
Because if we're in a world where people have superpowers, then it's going to be a very different thing. Which superpower you have is going to be a very different thing.
I just want to point out, I want to tell you how we got to where we were originally. Just so you understand, to give some context as we move forward. We recorded this. I thought it would be interesting if we did a Facebook Live recording as we recorded an episode. So people who are members of our Facebook group could sort of see how the sausage gets made. But Mark, who had never seen anything live streamed before.
A lot of stories begin with "but Mark."
He looked at the comments the whole time. He was amazed that people could talk to you while you were on a camera.
You guys, did you know you could do that?
And comments kept coming in French and Spanish.
Yeah. And I didn't...
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how to speak Dutch. How can we solve this problem? I know, with the lamest superpower anybody can think of. And he knocked all the big ones off, but now they're all back on the table.
Right.
So
where they're going to get knocked off again with Cypher. Cypher power! Is that what he says?
See, the fact that you don't know what he says?
It's Cypher power, right? With a fist in the air.
Sure.
I really thought that was going to end up.
How much of a difference do you think it makes selecting the best superpower if it's a world where nobody has a power versus a world where everybody has powers? Does that make a huge difference? Because I think the best would be if you're in a superpowered world and there is a best superpower and you have any other one, you're probably jealous of it. But in a world with no superpower, any superpower is the best because it's the only.
Probably, yeah. But I think the best superpower for a non-superpower world would be like to calm men's minds, or something like that, to prevent conflict,
right?
Or
which is
generate
what
agreement.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So communication is a big part of that.
Right.
But that's also control. So we're talking about someone like Charles Xavier who can control minds, and he doesn't necessarily need to speak their language. Because, like love, the mind is universal. Or at least that's what we're led to believe.
That's really beautiful, Hal.
Thank you.
No, it's not. It's terribly dark. I can, if I spoke your language, I can convince you of a thing. You're like, nah, I'm just going to climb into your brain and change your mind for you.
Yeah, well, you have to I'm assuming if I had the superpower rather than someone else, which is very subjective, I know what's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think anything where you control somebody's mind should not be on the table?
Yeah, they all should be on the table. We've got everything out there now. But I think anything where you're controlling someone's mind feels like a superpower for evil rather than a superpower for good. So I know that the professor is a wonderful, wonderful person.
But if, for example, there was a world leader who you thought was putting the entire globe in peril, and you had the ability with your mind to alter decisions?
Or just make him happy.
You don't think that could be for good?
I think that...
You see the evil so wait, a larger question is for any power, do you immediately go to how much evil could it be used for versus how much good, and that's how you decide how good it is or the quality of it?
No, I just think that maybe it's that like the power to change someone's opinion, the way that someone's point of view feels fundamentally wrong. Like flight does not feel fundamentally wrong. Invisibility doesn't feel fundamentally wrong. That feels fundamentally wrong. Invisibility, all right, we'll get to that. I heard the groans. It can be used for evil, I get that.
Not if you don't get caught.
But yeah, that one just feels intrusive and...
No, you're right. That you can't change someone's mind without actually changing their mind. And the thing is, what we're finding out now in this world is you can't change someone's mind.
Yeah.
You look at Trump supporters and they just refuse to look at the facts. And that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get all the facts and they understand what's being told and they just will not give up their guy. It's like that opinion is religion.
And you wouldn't want to impose your will on them any more than you would want somebody you disagree with to impose their will on you.
No,
so it makes it a dangerous power in general.
Yeah.
So let's talk about invisibility then. Because that's a gray area. You both argued for it. Well, you argued for it being evil and you argued for, only if you get caught. Invisibility does seem like a very personally beneficial power. Unless you're like Sue Storm and you're creating shields and stuff to help people.
That's telekinesis.
That's some light telekinesis mixed in with your invisibility. In general, invisibility seems cool, but also seems very dangerous.
But what is it useful for, really?
Right.
Hiding, yeah. Things. It's useful for things that are selfish things.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So,
What did you cough just now?
Yeah, the rogue in the party, the person who steals things, is probably not a superpower for good in general. The ability to turn yourself invisible or make others invisible. Maybe making others invisible. That one's...
I feel like invisibility is ridiculous too because you can't, by touching a thing, you don't make it invisible. And everyone is going to leave some sort of path through life. So if invisibility is your thing, you're still going to, if you're trying to steal something at a party, you're just going to see a cup float by. Invisibility is...
What if you stole someone's ring and put it in your mouth?
Yeah.
Well, because your fillings, you can't see your fillings when you're invisible, right?
Right.
So if a ring is in your mouth, is it invisible?
That's the new topic for today.
Yeah.
Just going to spend
If a ring is in your mouth, why? I like the specificity of it being a ring that you are putting in your mouth.
What's also good.
Well, you can also steal a ring without being invisible by putting it in your mouth. I just realized.
So the best way to steal something is to put it in your mouth. That one's settled.
Right.
Including art. You just have to fold it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You can get the Mona Lisa
But if you
in there.
want to steal like an Emmy, that might be tough.
That might be. Unless you can unhinge your jaw. There's another superpower that can work for stealing stuff. What about being able to shoot stuff out of stuff?
Like in Bangkok?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, like optic blast like Cyclops has, or being able to fire energy out of your hands, collect and fire stuff, or someone like Gambit who can imbue objects with kinetic energy and then fire them like
It's great for combat.
Yeah, but it's where else does it help? It doesn't help anywhere else. Or Superman's heat vision. Superman is an interesting look for something like this because he's got multiple powers all together. But the heat vision just seems it's good for cutting. It's good for battle. It's good for cutting through things. Like you could get a good job in construction or welding, something like that. You can
that's
shave.
what makes things best.
Yeah, the power to build. That's when you think as a kid, like, I really want a superpower that'll help me in the construction industry. That's
if you're living in a world that doesn't have superpowers. You're like, look, I just want to be a regular guy. I just want to make things a whole lot easier for me.
Yeah, but I guess in general, though, that category probably wouldn't. It can't be the best, can it?
Well, I can settle this all with one power.
Oh,
well, save it then.
Okay.
I'm very
But
interested.
is it one of I didn't mean
It's a major superpower that everybody knows and loves. And just negates everything else. Nothing else is useful or relevant.
We haven't been going for very long.
Okay, we'll keep distracting away from the answer.
Let me give a superpower that I think, and I don't think it's your answer.
Okay.
It's the ability to manipulate molecules, like Molecule Man.
Oh, to do anything in the world.
Yes, you can do anything. You can make anything. I was explaining this to my wife Jennifer at dinner, and it blew her mind. She was like, "You could make gold appear?" I was like, "Yeah, you can. You can make it out of thin air. Wait, you can make it out of this tablecloth. You can turn it into a gold brick because you're altering the molecules."
What?
I told you this last time, but you were staring at a screen.
I was look there. I didn't know how comments worked. I was very excited to see people talking to us in
There's
real
a very initially meek man in the Marvel universe called the Molecule Man who can manipulate molecules and recombine them so he can change anything and anything else except organic matter. I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I don't think they wanted him changing people. Yeah,
just making them have mustaches.
If he's fighting, the Thing, he just changes it into, Cypher.
All right.
Fair enough.
That's pretty tough to beat. Now it feels like.
Yeah, changing anything and anything.
Yeah.
Changing any situation, pretty much, right?
I do like that they kept it to inorganic things. You mentioned something a minute ago, Hal. You talked about whether it was generating or gathering whatever energy it is you need for things like this. I'm curious about that. Like, is it better to have to gather the energy so you don't have to carry around all this extra energy on you all the time? Or
like in a bag?
Yeah. Yeah, I assume if you can just do this, that fire's got to come from somewhere, right? So I'm just trying to read, narrowly define. I'm trying to understand the subtle differences in these superpowers.
I think it's less about the burden of carrying energy around and more about what you're doing once you have it. So, if you want your main superpower to be something that's combat based, like I fire energy out or I shoot lasers out of my eyes, then where it comes from is less relevant than what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I steer you off?
No, not at all.
I'm
just looking. I'm just watching these comments.
Yeah. Let's go through some big. How about let's talk about flight?
All right.
I want to talk about flight again, which you didn't. What? Can you remind me why you didn't like flight?
Nope. I have no idea why I didn't like flight at that point. But at this point, it's probably something to do with altitude and how that would like really mess you up if you were just flying around at 30,000 feet all the time.
Well, that's the thing. Are you invulnerable? Because of a certain altitude and a certain speed and all that?
I think
Skin will rip right off you.
I think if you have the ability to fly, then that comes with the ability to endure flight. So maybe you can't stop a bullet, but maybe you're able to withstand pressure changes.
Okay.
Things like that.
Don't all of these superpowers come with the ability to use them? Otherwise, it would be like, man, I have this thing where I can shoot fire out of my eyes, but I don't want to do it because then I'll have burned holes where my eyeballs used to be. So yeah, we can withstand the flight. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's a freedom to that, and I think you can assume that once you're able to fly, that you know to stay out of the path of airplanes and birds. Like birds aren't running into birds all the time. And I think
no, they're just running into glass windows. Also, make sure you're looking out for glass windows if you have the power of flight.
Is that your vulnerability then? Is just a window pane? What do you think about flying, Scott? Is that one that you thought about a lot as a kid?
Well, it's beautiful to think about. It depends on which world we're talking about too, because if it's just this world, then it's nice and it's a lovely kind of thing to experience probably, and it's useful to other people, and it avoids traffic. But I'm not sure it really. I mean, you could mountain rescue. Maybe would be useful for that. Yeah. But I don't know if it's really the best power to have in this world. In another world, in a superhero world, I think just to keep up, you need to fly.
Yeah, like that seems like bare minimum. Yeah, you have to be able to fly. Sometimes just outside.
Well, I mean, look at like Angel.
Yeah,
in X-Men, that's all he can do.
Until he became the Angel of Death, and then he could fire blades out of his wings.
Thank God.
He was so grateful. After that, he would just shoot feathers, and they would flutter down to the ground.
This is really taking forever.
Yeah, I think for a while there, he was just rich. That was his superpower.
Yeah, money. Is that a good superpower?
Money? Hey, it worked for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, there you go.
And Tony Stark.
Well, Tony Stark is a guy. He sort of falls into the super smart category. Mm-hmm. I don't think that that's the best superpower.
Super smart?
It's neat to be smart. And I also think like a guy like Doctor Strange, I don't think of him as having superpowers. I think of him as having mastered a craft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just in touch with the universe, man.
Yeah. He's able to use magic through study. It's not something he
sees a deeper truth and can manipulate it.
Yeah. So for those of you hoping we were going to talk more about Doctor Strange, that concludes the Doctor Strange portion of this episode. Super strength. I feel like that's one I wanted a lot as a kid and thought I had when I lifted a heavy branch. When I was like 11, I was like, it's happening finally. They're starting to manifest. Now I have these powers.
Why did you envision that being a great thing to have when you were a kid?
Probably because I was weak. And I wanted to be strong.
Were there mean boys at school?
There were mean boys at school, and they took my compass necklace and they ripped it off at camp. And they threw it in the trash.
A compass? Oh, like a compass,
little
north,
compass.
south, east,
It didn't work.
Not
it was
like
from a vending machine.
Oh, man.
They took it away. I wanted to be strong so I could punch him into the sky. Maybe that's not the best superpower to have.
I hope you weren't in the middle of the woods when they did that to you.
Let's talk about these combat, because you mentioned before, like different. I'm fascinated by the categorization of these. We've talked about the combat ones, shooting stuff at people, super strength. What about, this is a ridiculous one, but what about just complete, like physical invulnerability, ability to just smash through, not just blast people, but smash through walls and buildings and take a hit, like the ability to really get hit hard by.
So like Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Superman.
And they're mixing. They have super strength and they're invulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't get sick. It's like Cocoon.
Right. We don't get sick and we never die.
Yeah. You don't age anymore. Yeah. Or do you age? Are you vulnerable to the effects of aging? The greatest disease that mankind cannot solve?
I think it depends. I think Wolverine's not supposed to age very quickly because of all his healing, although he's aging now, right, in the comics.
Well, Wolverine doesn't age, but Hugh Jackman ages.
Yeah. But in the comics, I think he's like Old Man Logan now in the actual continuity, right?
Yeah. But
Am I wrong? I don't know.
After centuries.
What's that? Oh, he's just visiting? Okay.
Great. Old Wolverine just stopping by for a visit.
Is our Wolverine still around? Oh, great.
Oh. Too bad. R.I.P. our Wolverine.
So he's just been replaced.
Man. And one thing about comics is he'll never come back. Gone forever. Bye, Wolverine. And vulnerability is interesting. The idea that you can't be hurt.
How about emotionally? That would be good.
Yeah.
I think that, if you had that physical invulnerability, you would absolutely be screwed emotionally, because if you can't ever die, you're going to go through lifetimes worth of lifetime friendships, several of them, and really have to go through a lot of pain a lot.
So
sorry to bring it down, everybody.
Yeah.
Just how my brain was working right now.
You're impervious to knives and bullets, but your Achilles heel is waiting for someone you like to call you back. That's more frightening to me than bullets or knives.
That's how the Mandarin finally gets you.
He said 5 minutes. I don't know. It's been 10 minutes. I mean, I guess I should wait. I know 5 minutes is relative. What about super speed?
Well, see, this is the one I think is the best.
This
power.
Is the one you think is the best power. Why?
Absolutely. Because you are essentially time traveling. If Barry Allen runs so fast that he can be at a situation before anybody else, if someone pulls a gun on him, he can dismantle the gun before the guy has finished getting it into place. Any threat he can take care of before the next blink. 100 times during the blink, he can do it. So the idea that anybody is needed except for the Flash in any situation is ridiculous. He could disarm an entire army before they realize he's there. So we don't need anybody else. It's like I mentioned the other day. It's ridiculous that the Flash is in those pictures of like the Justice League all rushing towards something. Because here's Green Lantern running or whatever, somebody running right next to him who just runs, and the Flash is next to him like at the same kind of like dynamic pose, which means he's either just lapping them, or they're about to reach their destination and the Flash left home about a microsecond ago, and he's just caught up with them. Or he's mocking them. Yes, thank you from the audience.
He's doing this. Oh, you having fun?
I guess I'll wait for you guys before I dismantle all these guns.
Yeah, he can make tornadoes.
He doesn't need tornadoes.
Yeah.
There's a guy standing there. He goes over, grabs that guy, throws him in jail. We're done. But before Superman arrives, he does this.
Haven't they raced around the world before?
Yeah, they do a race now and then, yeah.
Yeah, but they never solve it because there's peril and they have to abandon the race.
Usually trouble on the way, yeah. But I think they generally let Flash win because otherwise he's not the fastest man alive anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much his brand.
Didn't he also in Crisis on Infinite Earths run so fast that he basically ran himself to death?
He did that for us, Hal.
I appreciate his sacrifice. I'm just saying, is that a drawback? There is no superpower without a drawback. I want to come back to
the drawback is that you run so fast you disintegrate.
Right.
Don't run that fast. Or make that sacrifice and be that hero.
Can it be super evil, though?
Oh, yeah.
Well, sure, but you'd be the best evil guy. We're talking about the best superpower, right? Okay.
Chain link with one power.
Yeah, there you go.
He's the only guy. For those of you who can't, we do have an audience mic, which is why you heard somebody from 1910 receiving a phone call.
Yeah. Was that on one of those phones that's like a box with the two little bells and then a nose that looks like a face?
Was that Mary Poppins calling to tell you that the kids are fine after disappearing into a chalk drawing for an afternoon? There are evil speedsters as well, but every superpower has some drawback to it. So there's no perfect superpower.
What's the drawback to super speed?
I feel like
running yourself into disintegration.
But that's a
the fact that it
choice.
can happen. It is,
while you are in your super speed mode, your powers are otherwise regular human powers, yes? So there would still be threats that you could not...
Someone might shoot at you.
Right,
But that's like looking at a picture of a bullet and going, oh, how do I get out of the way?
Or what if a missile is coming?
Yeah.
A missile is coming.
A picture of a missile is across the street, and you walk over to the missile, this missile hanging in midair, and you look at it and you go, wow, I'm glad I'm not over there anymore.
Yeah. But what happens when you can't stop the thing? If your powers in that moment
Okay, you're right. You can't stop
are
a
human
missile.
powers, you can't stop what the missile is about to do over there.
well, you can
get out of the way.
You could run in a circle or spin fast enough to create wind force that veers it and alters it.
Also, I think you could probably build a barrier.
In the time...
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say build a bear.
What?
You can build a bear.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say build a bear, which I thought was great.
You build a big enough bear, that will stop that missile.
And you can, at Build-A-Bear, which is not a sponsor of the show, you can pick outfits.
Ooh.
They have specials. You can do birthday parties there.
I want a missile with a bow tie.
I mean, I'm sure we've all seen Superman or the Flash or whoever rebuild a building after it's been knocked down. And it takes about a minute, right?
Right.
When did they learn how to build buildings?
They learned really fast.
That's the thing. He can run to the library, read every book on building.
Yeah.
And in about 20 seconds, know everything that anybody ever knew about building.
Man, reading everything everybody ever knew about building sounds like you have to go disintegration fast.
There was an issue of Impulse where Impulse was he was just this kind of like brash little boy and kind of like, fun and ignorant, and he decided to educate himself, and he went into the library and read everything in a day?
No, not even. Well, in a whole library, I think it didn't take him that long.
Yeah, so he read the whole library and knew everything. So he was kind of a bit of a different character because he had a lot of knowledge, and he retained it.
And knowledge is power.
There you go. So there again, super speed makes you a better person.
Yeah.
And more. Well, it makes you more useful, and if you can gain all that knowledge very quickly.
How much of your day do you think you could spend at super speed? I mean, I understand that your day would be a much different amount of time, or feel like a much different amount of time. But I feel like I would want to use that sparingly. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like if I'm running that fast all the time, when I get home, I am crashing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you're really hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other.
Yeah.
Now we're into my wheelhouse. If you're super fast, you have to eat a lot because you're constantly burning a ton of calories, which means I can say, "See you later, Weight Watchers. I'm gonna go hit the Sizzler buffet and clean them out." Because you burn it all so fast. I mean, it sounds great. This is the second part. It's really the ability to eat whatever you want. What better superpower is there on the planet?
Okay, one more thing on the list.
Well, Molecule Man.
I'm so winning right now.
Yeah, you really are. I'm trying to think of.
I'm still thinking about Molecule Man because originally I thought that was the one you were saying was the ultimate superpower, the ability to just create anything you want at any time. But again, apparently I have a thing for the middling characters. Molecule Man and Cypher. Yeah, it's tough to argue anything but super speed. Again, we determined though that if you can do a thing, you have to have the ability to withstand doing the thing.
Yep.
The fact you can.
Are you playing chess against yourself right now?
No, I'm just
1D
trying
chess.
to wrap my hand around this.
Yeah, you ever have to just wrap your
You guys, I'm going to wrap my hand around this superpower right now.
He's making a drinking motion instead of what you might be thinking he was.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, dear God. God.
Mark, do you feel like you've wrapped your hands around this sufficiently? Is there anything else? Weather control is fun. Like, there are a lot of cool powers, but to go through a roll call of stuff that's not going to win at this point would just be satisfying the people on the internet, which we are famous for not doing.
Well, does anybody out there have a superpower that might beat super speed? Teleportation. Well, super speed is teleportation, essentially. Because if you want to be across the world in the blink of an eye, you can. Because you just run across the water.
You can't go through solid matter.
Yes,
you can go through solid matter.
You can go through solid matter. You can vibrate so fast that you're at a different frequency.
The molecules
you go right
blend
through
and go through.
Yeah.
Physics just doesn't work for the Flash, does it?
No.
He's a scientist. He knows how to use it. Right there, the black glove.
He's a scientist.
Technokinesis. The ability to control
Technomancy?
machinery. Yeah. Technomancy. And Technofancy, which is a great magazine for people who like computers. There's an iMac that looks so cute. It's all dressed up with some balls of yarn around it. I took it too far. It's fine.
So being able to manipulate.
Yeah, manipulate and communicate with machines.
Okay.
One of a little kid on Heroes had that ability. He could communicate with and control machinery.
That's the power you give to a little baby.
Yeah.
Baby powers.
Is that a viable candidate?
I'm asking your thoughts.
You
turned it to the audience.
Yeah, well, then I turned it to you, the host of the show.
Yes. And because you're our guest, we're going to make you do it.
I think you're limited by your opportunity with that. Like, it depends on what machines are in the area and what kind of things you can make them do. Yeah?
Yes. If you're super fast, you can get to them however you want. Well, let's take a couple more. Right there. The power to heal, like Wolverine, the healing factor.
Yourself or other people. The power to heal other people.
In this world, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus did very well.
Yes. Although, couldn't you learn nursing really quickly? Get a nursing degree in like a day, and then you could very quickly get to people who are ill?
Or if you were a technomancer, you could control like a healthcare robot.
Yeah, there you go. You would know. Yes, right back there. Purple. Yes, you. Sorry.
The ability to multiply yourself.
Like Multiple Man.
Yeah.
I named myself Multiple Man.
Or like Michael Keaton in Multiplicity.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out.
One was a copy of a copy.
Right.
It depends on how narcissistic you are, I guess, or how much you trust yourself. If I duplicated myself, I wouldn't trust me as far as I could throw me.
Does one mind control all of them?
What?
Would one mind control all of them, or does each multiple have its own?
Is it a hive mind or is it individual?
Thank you for translating that.
Individual, but it would still be your personality.
Yeah,
individual, but still your personality. Yeah, no.
That just sounds like a recipe for disaster.
The world does not need more us's.
Yeah. Right there? Yes.
The ability to control gravity.
The ability to control gravity. Like turn it on or off?
Yeah.
It just seems dangerous.
Yeah. I can make you lighter or heavier.
Yeah. I hate to sound like your parent here, but that's a pretty big responsibility. You need to think before you
It depends on how much control you have over it, too. So if you take away someone's gravity, they're going to start floating, and you can return it to them, I guess. But is there anything else you do with that?
Outside of pretend you're on the space station all the time?
Yeah.
Or step back and watch all the boats currently on water just shoot off of the Earth.
Yeah.
It's a great villain power.
I mean, it won't stop a bullet.
No.
And you probably won't float out of the way quick enough.
You could make it heavy so that it hits the ground.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it also, you have to think about it and do it before or as the bullet's coming, so you'd need to be pretty fast to do that.
Yeah.
We keep coming back to it.
So close.
Right over here.
Pretty much just video game glitch.
What does that mean?
Video game glitch?
There was a talk online about what would the best superpower be, and someone just posted someone just making a sit down motion and then rolling towards the chair. But that's the glitch, obviously.
Okay, so like a glitch where you levitate and move around, but cross-legged.
This is just a superpower that makes sitting easier.
Yeah. You have to be good at yoga to use it. walking through all that. So I think super speed sort of covers that.
It also, I think, is something that a superpower might try to solve. It sounds more like a detriment to me.
Right.
The word glitch, it does make it sound detrimental.
Yeah.
It's a good name for a super. Is there a superhero named Glitch? I'm sure there is. There has to be.
Yeah.
Let's do. I love that this has become a press conference.
Yeah.
In support of super speed. Let's do one more right here.
Anyone in that area.
Yeah. Everyone in that area.
The ability to turn into animals.
Look, it may not be at the top, but that is a cool ability.
Yeah.
That is a very cool ability.
Like Manimal?
That's right. Shout out to Simon McCorkindale.
Wow.
The Manimal.
No, I'm saying wow.
Yeah. It's impressive. That's an impressive amount of knowledge. Yeah, that's...
Well, I went to the library yesterday. Did I tell you guys I have super speed? Hang on a second. Now I know everything. Whew, I am tired. I just ate up a whole sizzler, you guys. Man, that required some calories.
I think it's a good fantasy power to have.
It would be one of the funnest for sure.
Yeah, but then the reality of I don't think anybody goes if a dog was really smart, they could do anything. They can't.
Yeah, but see, all right, now I think the young woman in the audience who suggested that power is not looking to perhaps save the world, but have just a really great time.
Yeah.
And a wonderful life.
Yeah.
And
it's a party.
I'd go with that as being one of the best powers, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So thank you for that.
Yes. But it's still super speed, right?
Yeah, be a really fast animal.
Yeah. The fastest possible. All right, now one more, or two more, but at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
Go.
The ability to mimic perfect with absolute mastery anything that you see or learn about, including other powers.
Taskmaster.
We are actors. We already have that ability.
And clairvoyance is seeing the future, but am I wrong that that's tied to sleeping?
Tied to sleeping?
Is it clairvoyance where you see it in your dreams?
I don't think so.
It's just being able to see the future.
You know everything, so if someone was going to attack you like a speedster, you know exactly where they're
So you could...
days before they...
I see.
Well, this, yeah.
What timeline are we in? That's a really good question. Yeah, that's an interesting one. The anticipation is good, but I also feel like that's kind of a bummer of a power to have.
Yeah.
Because you're just weighted down with knowledge.
Well, also, is there a paradox there? If you see the future and then you decide to change it, is it possible?
Oh, that's true. Mm-hmm. Is it fate or is it movable? And that is not the topic.
Are we going to do our best religion episode right now?
Yeah.
But I like the idea of what Hal said about clairvoyance having to dream they're clairvoyant. Because I see in New York there are a lot of storefront clairvoyants, and I just picture now going in there and saying, "Will I find love?" And then they say, "Give me 10 hours," and they get in bed. And you kind of wait, and look at the chakra charts on their wall while they sleep.
I
need you to stroke my hair. It's the only way I can really tell the future for you.
And then they wake up. Oh, sorry. I can't control it. I dreamt about something.
Yeah.
I mentioned that, yeah.
I was being chased by snakes.
Oh, my gosh. All right. I think...
Oh, and then he also said the power to adapt, or to adopt anyone else's power.
Right. Taskmaster has
that
power?
Is that Taskmaster?
Yeah.
How well is Taskmaster doing?
I don't know.
Is he the most powerful person in the comic book land? He does what?
He trains mooks.
He trains mooks? Like guys that gangsters don't like?
Okay, why isn't he the best villain in the world?
Yeah. Maybe he's turned it into like a system where he's selling it. Like he's like the Tony Robbins.
He's a businessman.
Supervillain. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he learned to become the best businessman in the world. Because he stayed up and watched infomercials.
He started a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme. Yeah, he's Bernie Madoff. Yeah, I think it's still super speed.
You just mentioned watching infomercials. Would watching television be really difficult if you have super speed?
Well, that's the thing. I think you can turn it on and off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I knew that. Oh, do you mean the television or the super speed?
Well,
Wait, guys, you can turn the TV off? My room has been blaring Food Network this whole trip. Sorry, neighbors.
No, I think the idea is you have a limit to how fast you can run.
Right.
If you have super speed, you can
But
keep increasing that
My
limit.
point, I know that you can, that you
can go slow.
You can go slow.
Yeah.
Would you feel antsy? I just mean you guys personally. Would you feel antsy in your slow moments? Or do you think that it's...
Well, if you look at the character, if you look at Flash, he isn't. He doesn't get bored easily, you know. He's a scientist and he takes his time and he's always late to stuff. And then he just turns it on. And then he's really fast. But otherwise he's fine. Right?
Yeah. No. We're not talking specifically about the Flash.
All right.
I'm just talking about super speed in general.
I don't.
Not that there is anything.
So we're talking about the Wizard right now.
The Wizard.
Yeah, the Wizard.
Who's the Wizard?
The Marvel character who runs at super speed. If you don't want to talk about Flash, we'll make it the Wizard.
I want to talk about Cypher again. Yeah, it feels like it's then super speed. There's nothing that has beaten super speed.
Scarlet Witch, manipulate reality.
All right.
Yep. There's the Scarlet Witch who manipulates reality and manipulates the odds of things in her favor. The hexing power.
Does she have complete control over what happens?
No more mutants.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, she's been a hinge.
That's all right. So she's very powerful.
Yeah.
But is that the best ability to have? Does that make the best life in the best world?
That's as criteria go. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
The best life in the best world. Yeah. I don't think it. No, I don't think it. Yeah, we are. We're up here, like the Senate subcommittee hearing.
Yeah.
Trying to defend or deflect everything off of super speed.
But
And
we're
we
not
managed
knocking it or putting it down. We're
Yeah.
just saying it as a fact, and sort of it is true more for England than here. And I'm not saying that we're better or greater, or comparing us as Jesus Christ as a person to God as a thing, or whatever it is. You know, I just said what I said, and it was wrong, or it was taken wrong, and now it's all this.
Yeah. See what happens? See?
Everyone have super speed.
What are you saying?
Everyone have super speed.
That'd be great.
If everyone had the superpower, it wouldn't be a superpower.
Incredible.
So wait. Are you saying it's a better world if everyone had super speed?
No, with the power of reality, you could make everyone have.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So put everyone on the same level.
Make
and then-
everyone have tacos too.
So yes,
Make
that
everyone-
would beat super speed. Absolutely would beat super speed. Yeah, making everyone run at the same speed would beat super speed. But that's not the question. That's not what would be the final person in a superhero war. It's what is
would be
the
the
best
best
ability
superpower?
to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the idea that the final person in a superhero war would be like, let's make sure that we get rid of super speed as a factor. Make super speed.
Yeah, get rid of that first.
Yeah.
So I think we're at a decision right now. We've decided what the best ability is. So it's up to me now to say, people of the world, you missed it. We already made the decision. I gave a really long speech. It was like a half hour long, but I did it at super speed, which is the best power, so you didn't even hear it. Slow this down. Played it like half speed, you might catch some whispers of it, but super speed gives you the ability to do almost anything. I mean, look at the Flash and now appreciate how hard he's trolling the other members of the Justice League and all those in all those images where they appear to be running at the same speed. He's kind of a dick. So there you go. Super speed is now the best superpower for all time, asked and answered.
Scott Adsit. Scott Adsit, thank you for coming on and doing this with us. You are an expert in this field and a dear friend and a terribly funny man. So thank you for coming.
Thank you both. I wish this had gone quicker.
You really tried to do it at the very beginning. Yeah. You're like, guys, I got to get out of here. It's bed super speed. I'll be over there.
Is there anything upcoming that you want to promote? This is coming out pretty soon after we record it.
In November, the Big Hero 6 series premieres on Disney.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, you're now twice part of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Great. Well, thank you to everybody here at DragonCon, all the volunteers, all the tech people, and the organizers who make it run. Thank you to all of you for coming to this panel.
And this topic is closed, but there are many more topics out there. So please reach out to us on Twitter at WeGotThisTweets or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit.
Oh, you don't want to say you?
Not anymore, because apparently you were like, stop saying that. There's no Flame War happening on the Maximum Fun subreddit.
I just said that other people said it. I don't know that it isn't happening.
You are how I know things that are happening on this show.
Because I'm your cipher. You can email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com or join us on our Facebook group. Maybe we'll do another Facebook Live video and you can see what Mark's dead-eyed stare looks like as he watches comments scroll down a screen.
Them's my reading eyes.
That's facebook.com/groups/WeGotThisPodcast. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, who's at the back of the room right now. Give him a round of applause. Researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thank you to you, our listeners. What a great time we have had doing this show, or continuing to have doing this show. Thanks for coming out live to our listeners and viewers in the room, and to all of those listening at home. Thank you. Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
Thanks, y'all.
Are you troubled by a lack of astute yet dick joke-filled analysis of bad movies?
Do you experience feelings of laughter and enjoyment when you hear three friends go off on stupid tangents?
Have you or any of your family ever seen a spook, specter, ghost, or totally rad party dude house cat who really only exists as a sound effect?
If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then pick up your podcast listening device of choice and subscribe to The Professionals.
The Flophouse. Our award-winning and usually only a little drunk staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your bad movie podcast needs.
The Flophouse. We're ready to make you laugh in public so that other people look at you funny.
Hit it!
I'm pretty sure we don't have the rights to this song.
Judge John Hodgman ruled in my favor.
Judge John Hodgman ruled in my friend's favor.
Judge John Hodgman ruled in my favor.
I'm Judge John Hodgman. You're hearing the voices of real litigants, real people who have submitted disputes to my internet court at the Judge John Hodgman podcast. I hear their cases, I ask them questions, they're good ones, and then I tell them who's right and who's wrong.
Thanks to Judge John Hodgman's ruling, my dad has been forced to retire one of the worst dad jokes of all time.
Instead of cutting his own hair with a Flowbee, my husband has his hair cut professionally.
I have to join a community theater group.
And my wife has stopped bringing home wild animals.
It's the Judge John Hodgman podcast. Find it every Wednesday at MaximumFun.org or wherever you download podcasts.
Thanks, Judge John Hodgman.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.